Hello everybody and welcome back. So, when we last left off, we had just gotten ourselves exiled from Baron Castle, and we are on our way to deliver a ring to a nearby village in order to regain our king's good favor and reclaim our rightful place as the Lord Captain of the Red Wings. So we're gonna go do that in this episode. And we're gonna get into a little bit more of the combat system, because, like I was saying in the last episode, Kane had... pardon me, I'm sorry about that. Kane being around does help us out a lot, and it helps us kind of start to distinguish the different kind of niches that each of our characters have, but because we only have 2 party members right now, there's really not a whole lot that can really be said in terms of depth, because both of our characters are very, they're still kind of low level and beat face, and Final Fantasy IV itself is not the most in-depth RPG that humanity has ever created. It's very good for its time. Of course it is. It's a Final Fantasy game. They tend to do that. Why am I back in the screen? I don't know. I think I was going for the status menu, and my brain saw settings and thought it was status. So we're just gonna check how our level ups are looking. Kane's actually about to level up. That's good. I might go in, okay. So that's something I can do real quick, is I can kind of explain what all our stats do. Strength is damage, of course. The more strength we have, the harder we hit. I think that should be fairly obvious. Speed influences the speed at which we get ATB. It influences our ATB slider a little bit. Stamina is basically worthless, and we're going to ignore that stat. I might research it a little bit just to make sure that... and then if I am wrong, I will correct it at the beginning of the next episode. But intellect is spell damage, and spirit is spell resistance, as well as healing potency, if I remember properly. So characters with high spirit will be, they're going to be our healers, and they're also going to take, 0 magic damage. So those are the stats, and we're going to be kind of paying attention to how they grow. And we're here with Naming Way. And he's going to give us a very nice mechanic that's going to help us a lot through the entire game. He's going to give us our self-improving map, which, as I said in the last episode, the map that he gives us is going to be basically a replacement for the bottom DS screen. And the cool thing about it is that when we have this up, it's a transparent overlay, so I'm going to be using it all the time. But you can actually see the percentage from which the percentage by which we have completed one of our maps. And when you get to 100%, you actually get good things. So you get a lot of extra bonuses. I think for this one we get potions and stuff. So very useful. Very nice to complete maps whenever it's realistically possible. You're going to see me kind of go out of my way to fully explore every area. And that's just common RPG sense, honestly. You don't want to leave anything unlooted. You don't want to leave anything unexplored. So getting an extra reward on top of that just helps encourage that gameplay a little bit, as well as making sure that you're not leaving anything behind. So you can already see that, you're getting stats that matter. Kane's getting more health, he's getting more, strength, and all that good stuff, so... the cave we're in right now is not a particularly in-depth dungeon. It's just, it's a very simple and straightforward cave for now. I'm actually going to do a little bit of an experiment to see if Kane, from even the back row, has a basic attack that's strong enough to kill one of these dudes. And that was a crit, though, so I don't feel good about saying yes about that. I'll try one more time, and if Kane does not crit, and goodness gracious, the crit rate in this game is actually pretty good, so that's exciting. We're going to get a lot of big dank crits. Everybody likes big numbers, right? The funny part is that Kane's jump actually hits a lot harder than his crit, even if he were on the front row. I'm already breaking my rule about talking during cutscenes, but that one is so small and nothing that I don't feel too bad about it. All that we really missed due to my blabbering over it is the fact that there is an unusual presence. Yeah, there's an unusual presence in this cave that is... yeah, and I'll kind of pull up those thought bubbles every once in a while so you can kind of see what Cecil's thinking. It'll give you a little bit more context on things. Okay, so these things I already know because we tried it during the live stream, where Kane is absolutely able to one-shot these stupid bugs, and there's so many of them that it's actually very important that we do that. they all die in a reasonable time frame and we don't spend like 800 years here getting them. Especially given the fact that Kane is now slowed, so characters that are slowed will obviously, their ATB gauge will not fill anywhere near as fast as it would otherwise. You can already see how much slower Kane's is filling. It's actually a little bit outrageous. It's about half as fast as Cecil's is now. So we definitely don't like that. Slow is a bit annoying. It's not exactly gonna break your spine this early in the game, but later on, if a decisive character like your healer or something gets slowed, it can be really, really bad. So we're gonna try to, we're eventually gonna get tools to prevent slow from really sticking to us, so that'll be exciting when we get to that point. But for now, we're not gonna worry too much about it. It's no big deal. Not very many things will slow you this early on in the game. We got some potions, that's good. How's our dudes looking? Nah, neither of them really need potions. We're about to face our first boss battle, actually. That's exciting. It's just, this boss is basically a, we're gonna ignore that warning, by the way. It's basically just a tutorial on ways in which the ATB gauge works. So, you're gonna see kind of how the meters fill, because the gimmick of this combat system is that you have a gauge as your characters, but your enemy also works off of the same gauge. So every time the enemy's fills up, they will be able to have a turn, and every time yours fills up, you will have a turn. So, this enemy in particular, you will see in a couple of turns, they do this thing where he will actually transform into mist, and as a result will be invincible, and I may actually attack into the mist, despite the fact that that's a bad idea, generally, just to kind of show what happens if you do it, and explain... Oh, cool. Thank you, Cecil. So, I mean, it's a 95% chance to hit, 94, whatever. Oh, okay. So we're actually gonna see. I am going to attack into the mist, and you see he doesn't have a 98% chance to hit, but it's gonna miss, because he's the mist. And then we're also gonna get counterattacked, because he's in mist form. And that hurt really bad. And we learned that striking the mist is futile, as... Yep, we're aware. Thank you, game. Okay, appreciate it, game. Maybe it wasn't such a good idea to attack the mist just for timeliness' sake. I just kind of wanted to demonstrate that for you. So, the idea is to... Oh, Jesus Christ. Cool. Well, let's heal up Cecil real quick. Yeah, I know. So that's fun. That happened. I apologize to the viewers for the time at which it is taking to overcome a fairly trivial boss, mostly because of the combination of jump and my desire to actually demonstrate the tutorial a little bit. But once he turns into not mist form, we will be able to put him down to the ground fairly easily. I might actually take this opportunity to refresh Darkness, because the idea is that the dragon will eventually... Oh, never mind. Okay, so dragon is done with mist form because we let a couple of turns pass. So that's basically... That's the boss fight right there. Don't attack him when he's in mist, and do attack him when he is a dragon. And then you'll be done. And we're actually going to darkness up again. Because Cecil does a lot more damage in darkness mode than he does when he's not in darkness mode, so it does become fairly important to try and maintain uptime on that when you are realistically able to. Obviously, there are times like when Cecil is the only party member, or you don't have consistent healing, or you're just taking a ton of damage, where it won't be a good idea to have Cecil in darkness, and you're just going to kind of want to use him basic, but whenever it's realistically viable to do so, just generally you can throw him in there and you will deal a lot more damage as a result. So this boss should be... Okay, so we're done. We win. This boss battle is now over, and it was a little bit more challenging than it really had any right to be, mostly because of my own stupidity. Like, honestly, I should have just defended on Cecil's turn and then allowed Kane's jump to demonstrate what happens when you attack into the mist, but instead I decided I was going to be more stupid than that. So we're now going to depart the cave, and once we're out of this cave, the story will continue. And we're only 10 minutes into this video, so I'll keep going for a while. I'll find a good place to cut it, probably sometime between Mist and the next town. But we're gonna worry about that later. For now, we're just gonna keep our quest going. Cecil should now be strong enough where he can one-shot an Ahriman with a basic attack while not in darkness. But yeah, there we go. That's good. He's had a couple of level ups since the last time we tested that, and he was very close. Last time, I do recall seeing him do it once, although it was mostly RNG focused. So now that he has a bit more strength, because of said level ups, it should be a lot easier now. Like you can see the damage numbers grow over time. Like 1 point of strength actually adds a not insignificant amount of damage for how early we are in the game. Anyway, this is now the village story, so.
The ring! This is what we were sent to do?
He wished this village torched.
But why? Why?
Mother, you can't die. Just because your dragon did.
I've heard of their lot. Men who can conjure eidolons. Summoners.
Then the dragon we slew was her mother's?
You're the ones who killed her dragon?
Forgive us. We had no idea this would happen to your mother.
His Majesty sent us to eliminate every last one of these people.
No.
Foul work, to be sure. We'll need to kill the girl as well.
Cain!
It's her or us, Cecil.
She's a child!
You'd betray your king?
Betray him? Any man who'd wish for this is no king of mine.
I thought you might say that.
Then...
I owe His Majesty much, but not so much I'd soil the Dragoon's name in his.
Then you're with me.
Baron's army is the mightiest in the world. Our flight means nothing if we remain alone. We must treat with other nations, share what we've seen. And Rosa, she must share our flight.
And she will. Thank you.
I'm not doing this for you.
Huh?
Quickly, we mustn't linger here. What of the girl?
We take her with us. Come. It's not safe here. Take my hand.
No!
We've no time. Use force if you must.
Stay away!
Wait!
Leave me alone! I hate you!
Okay, so that went bad pretty fast, didn't it? So we have now only got Cecil in the party, and as a result, things are now a bit more dire, because he still didn't heal up after that Miss Dragon fiasco. I mean, there's no real reason for him to, but he was very low health, and he now no longer has Kane to back him up, so this next section might be a little bit sketchy until we get to town, but it's not going to be very long at all. In fact, it's actually already over, so sorry for the false alarm there, boys. Okay, so these guys are actually fairly simple. I actually forgot for a moment that I was going to be doing talking during this LP just because it had been a hot minute since I actually had a moment to talk, and I was admittedly briefly distracted by something that happened off screen. But so this encounter may be playing the boss battle theme, but rest assured, it's actually very trivial. So we're basically going to attack this third soldier. And then the general is going to go into his Hardened Rage, and he may actually one-shot us, but in the event that he doesn't, we should not have anything to worry about, I do believe. So, okay, good. We did manage to avoid that there, so that's a relief. So this is Rydia. She's going to be useful for a very long time to come. Okay, so we have a little bit of gold. There's a Gil. Forgive me. You know, I should be the last person making that mistake, considering I'm a gigantic Final Fantasy nerd. But anyway, I might run around town for a little bit just to see if there's anything hidden we can find. But not too much. Just because what's the point, really? I would be able to buy, like, 3 potions, maybe 4. But, okay, nah, there's nothing really too much to gain here. I'm just gonna go. Rydia is now in the party, by the way. And you will see right away she's actually not that great yet. She's got very low pretty much everything. But, oh, that is right, that is actually something I wanted to go grab for her. So, I'm glad I remembered that. But just having her in the party and the fact that she's going to start gaining EXP is going to be helpful eventually once she actually does scale up and starts learning abilities and getting better stats and stuff. Not to mention the fact that later on, just through the rest of the game, having her around is great. So this is where we start to really compile a party instead of just having 2 dudes kind of just beat face through everything. So that's nice. And we are now going to adventure here. I'm going to do a quick save. I'm not going to call it the end of the episode yet. I'm still at okay, I'm at 20 minutes. So getting a little bit closer, but I don't quite want to call it just yet. But so I'm just going to run down here this way real quick just to kind of show you there's nothing of real value to be gained. There's a couple of random encounters along the way, but nothing too amazing. I might use this opportunity to actually give Rydia a a level up, maybe 2, depending on what her EXP ratio is at. But, you know, right off the bat, she does have Blizzard, so she'll be able to do enough damage to actually kill these Desert Sahagins, which is nice. And then she can act like she's still going to contribute. It's just she's not exactly quite at the same power level that Kane was when we lost him, unfortunately. But it's okay. She's gonna try her best, and she's gonna get there. Let's actually check that real quick. I forgot to check what her... okay, so 190 for level up, so that ain't bad. But we're actually gonna go back up this way. I just wanted to kind of go over this way to show you there's nothing really there yet, but we'll be able to backtrack to this area pretty quick. Oh! There's actually something I need to do in that town. I completely forgot. I need to go back to town. So, that was my bad on that one. I'm a little too progression heavy. I forgot that we actually do still have business in that town. Like Kayapo or whatever it's called. So I'll probably take care of that and then call the episode once I reach back out to the world map. And then I'm just gonna keep on playing because I really like this game. It's been a while since I've played it and I'm still having fun. So I am going to finish out this encounter. I might do one more encounter just for the sake of having Rydia be able to expand her mana pool to its new total value once I'm back in town, just because she's already so close to leveling up. She's got like, what, 3 left before she does a 12. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna run around for one more random encounter. We're gonna level up Rydia. She's gonna have new HP and MP values that I will be able to heal up at the end. And then I'll do the story thing, and then we'll call the episode right there. So, exciting times. If this does get too tedious, by the way, and this ends up not being as entertaining as I would like, or I run out of things to say, or I just go about level grinding for too blatant a period of time, like it's only been like a minute right now, but if I do decide I'm going to do some level grinding, I will obviously do that off camera, or I'll do jump cuts or something as necessary. I don't want people to be bored, is the big thing, because you're not watching a video to be bored. I mean, I know that should be fairly obvious, I just kind of wanted to get that out there. She didn't get any of her magic stats up, though. That sucks a little bit, but she will be just fine. Anyway, back to town, and we're good. Oh, okay, one more encounter. I apologize for the lie. The one thing that I am going to do is I will not be actually running away from any of the random encounters, so don't worry too much about that. I will run away every once in a while. Like, every once in a blue moon, like if I'm low on resources, or if I'm just trying to push to a save point, or something like that, then I will, run. But for the most part, I'm gonna do every encounter that I come across. And that, you know, the reason for that is simple. And it's that you want EXP because you want to level up and get stronger. And, the way that these games are designed is that Final Fantasy games in general are not actually all that hard as long as you actually take the time to do fights. As long as you are kind of keeping up with your encounter curve and you're not running away with everything, and, you know, you might be able to take a little bit of time to grind every once in a while, but for the most part it's really not that necessary, unless you're doing the, like, kind of the super boss hardcore stuff. So, we've run into now Mapping Way again, and Mapping Way has now... He's basically just gonna go on a life journey to figure out what he wants to do in the world today. So no, we don't really want to view that Beaster area. It's not really that big of a deal. We're gonna be able to buy our own shortly. So yeah, there's Rosa, and the story continues. Okay, so we now know Rosa is suffering from a fever, and we need to go claim a sand pearl in order to restore her. The one thing that Rosa gave us, and Living Way is actually going to explain this to us himself, but I think augments are new to the DS version. I'm not totally sure, but basically, this allows you to equip abilities and skills and stuff to characters who do not start with them. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put auto potion there. That's a waste of potions, and you generally don't need it. It might be more useful later when we're literally just drowning in potions. But, so this guy's just explaining what I already just explained. So I'm actually going to skip through this dialogue because it's not very useful. Because I already know how to do it, and I will explain my usage of abilities as well as my rationale behind who I equip them to and why I equip them to those people when we actually get to the points in the game in which that information becomes relevant. Because there will be a lot of abilities that we get throughout this game, and some of them are extremely good. And I will explain, you know, why I'm equipping certain abilities to certain characters once we equip those abilities to those characters. So don't worry too much about that. I'll make sure that you guys are kept up to date. Anyway, this about wraps up this episode, so I'm gonna pop down a save right here, and I'm gonna call it. So thank you very much for watching. If you have any feedback, make sure to leave it in the comments, or just, you know, let me know personally. And I will see you guys in the next episode.